Okay, so before getting into the detailed discussion, uh, we will see one transaction. Okay, let me one transaction called SCC1. Okay, SCC1 stands for client copy. Okay, so what is the use of this client copy is, so when we have different clients, okay, this see we have two different transports, right? One is my workbench request and my customizing request. Okay, in my workbench request, all the objects are available cross client, means it will be available in multiple clients. Like if you have two clients in my system, it will be available in both clients. But this configurations and my, just a minute, configurations and customizing is client dependent. Okay, so how will you identify its client dependent is, see, most probably all my tables are client dependent only. If I go to any table,
Hi, I can see the screen.
just navigate within the windows now, because I said I see Aditya is able to see it. Just try any windows issue, or I'll reshare my screen again at the last.
No, not yet. It's not working, I think.
Mm. Others are able to see it, or it's only Rajendra? Let me
Can you
reshare.
move your cursor?
No, no, I'm sharing my SAP window. So see, this is my SAP window. No,
Yeah,
yes.
now it's
Yes,
working.
yes. Yes,
Mm,
it's working.
okay, fine. Let me continue with that. Okay, so see, most of my tables are and should be client dependent. Okay, even if you try creating a table without the client dependency, it will prompt. Okay, so let me see Zmara. Okay, and if I don't give anything, already exist Zmara. Okay, demo. I just gave my 10R. Set as local. See, application will be table specific. It's a information, but still it will prompt. Okay, because why this application? See, it should be specific to clients. We'll have different clients. See, it's a demo server, so we have only one client. Generally, in practical scenarios, they will have one configuration client, one development client, one testing client. So there will be necessity where you will have to move my configurations or my table entries to my other client, sorry. So you can just put in my transport, what is the source client, you can just select it. See, here I have multiple. Okay, so you see, if you see, we are using 800. There are some different systems. See, so many are there. Suppose you want to import from other systems. Suppose I am in 800. I want to import from 810. So by default, sources, it will be configured in the backend. If you want to change it, you can change it. So 810 to 800. If I want to just transport, I'll just choose that client 810. Then give my transport number. This will be only customizing transport, not workbench request. So how we can differentiate here is, here it will come up. So if I put display, so sorry, it has only, see, here you have checkboxes to select customizing or workbench. So if you collect that customizing, it will give up all my, see, these many customizing requests are there. If you want to copy this to another client, this is the transaction. If you just give the transaction number. If this is a main request, means main request in the sense, if this is a main, see, these are the main request, this is sub request. You can directly give the sub request also, or you give the main request and check this box, including request subtask. Okay, so this will, if I use this checkbox, it will import all my customizing requests under this main task. Test on is that you just want to test it, like you don't want to actually run it, you want to see if there are any errors or not. So I'll just schedule it.
What is the function code for this?
T code is SCC1, client copy. Yeah. So if I just start immediately, say change because there are no incorrect source, okay, that's okay. This is a demo system. We'll see all set of configuration issues. It will run in the backend, so it will give the log, like whether it is successful, failed. For technical purposes there are some configurations. Okay, so those you want to move and test it to in test system or test client, you can just do a client copy and start testing. So development client, this is only applicable when your development client and testing client is different. This is purely dependent on the business. Okay, so that is based on how the systems are designed. Okay, so this will take some time. So now test program run successfully. Okay, so here no log and all, if you want to say, I think you cannot see from see log display. Go to log display. This will show your transport log alone. Okay, so you can just see, double click, it will lead to my log. If you should go to that file log, see on the top, it will show all the objects. Okay, so it will give detailed. So if you have any errors now, you can just analyze it here. And there is a short another transaction for the, I think, SCC4. That is on client overview. Okay, so if you want to see what all the clients available in this, you can just see SCC4. It's client overview. These are the clients available. So if you I think we don't, let me see. Okay, we will have, so some default settings will be there. If you want to create a new entry, it will accept. Then I think SCC2, no, I think there is another transaction, SCC4 only. Okay, so if you want to, these are the two transactions generally we will use for client copies. Okay, now we'll go back to our oops and we'll start writing. We'll generally call this from my SC38 program, so that the different ways to call it, how you will call a static class, the instance class, everything we'll see using some examples. Okay, so there are some keywords where we haven't discussed them yet. Okay, so for example, loopet we have discussed. So similarly, case statements we have discussed. So then and there, if we encounter something, we'll discuss them. So there are separate set of statement. First, my string operations, some comparisons and string operations. Let me see what are those. So we have one thing called concatenate. Okay, okay, let me declare two strings and we'll see what are the operations. Okay, data LV string 1 type string. See, this is one data type string. Okay, so it will hold character values. Then similarly, I'll have LV string 2 type string. Okay, now I'll give both values. Okay, value strng string 1 the string 2, two string values I'll give. Okay, now we have some statements for executions. If my LV string 1 is not initial, this is just a check, it's not a mandatory. Now what we'll see is, one is concatenate, we'll see. Then one more thing is splitting the split. Okay, then we can see replace. These three would be fine. Then operators, these are on string operations. Okay, so concatenate, the syntax is concatenate. See, if you don't remember, you can just see the search. Okay, it will prompt tab, you will get it. Okay, I'll put one another string here just to hold the value. String 3 I'll make it. Okay, string 3, and just remove this value. We'll just play around with that. Okay, now concatenate my string 1. So even how many other strings you want, you can or how many values you want, you can concatenate. There is no limitation. 2, okay, into any variable you want to put it. So here it is L3. Okay, this is one way. And we do have, let me write it. Okay, write LV string 3. Okay, so this is a small code we'll write on my string operations. So the expectation here is it should get concatenate these two strings. Okay, that's it. Slash OSC 38, sorry, 38, execute. See, string 1, string 2, simple, nothing else. Okay, now we have some additions, okay, called separated by. Maybe now if I give space, now what it will do is it will just add a space in between those two. Okay, I'll see now a space is added, or separated by comma, full stop, any symbols also you can give. When you give that, it should be between single quotes. So I give separated by semicolon, double semicolon. Okay, I'll check activate. Now what happens is, see, double semicolon, whatever the strings are there, it will just add, and in between that it will space it. I will put this whatever separator you give. Okay, or I give now comma. You will just see it, the comma should come in between my two strings. So as simple as that. So whatever symbol or whatever you give it, it will come up. So that is on my concatenate. Okay, now I have a big string. Okay, I will see now how this split works. Okay, now I have string 1. I'll remove the values for my string 1 and 2. Okay, sorry. String value, what I'll do is value, I'll give a big string. Okay, string 1, some dollar hash symbol, string 2. So these are all used case system, and these are just examples. The used cases will be different. Okay, so based on your exact scenario you can just put it. Now split is split. Okay, split what string you want to split. So I want to split my L3 string. Okay, L3 string at what symbol. Okay, so currently I want to split at my hash, so I'll give that in my literals. Okay, into what all variables you want to put it. So if I give one variable, it will understand it only one, you are splitting, and how many outcomes come, it will put into one variable, so it will not accept. We'll give, because minimum a split should have at least minimum 2 destinations. So currently it is 2, but if you have maybe another one, I'll put it string 3. Okay, even though we have 3, we can put 2. So what it will do is it will just put first one in my first string and rest completely into my next string. So I'll put like this, string 1 and string 2. Okay, this, so now I'll write string 1, sorry, 3, 1 and 2. We'll see how it behaves now. I'll check, I'll activate, I'll execute the other way. Excuse me, sorry. 10 string split. Okay, is it string 1, string 2? I think refresh. Okay. No, let me debug and see what is the issue. Okay, sorry, string condition. This is a silly mistake. Sorry, I'll have to put my string 3 condition. Here I have string 1. I'll remove this anyway, it's not so important. See, string they have just printed. I think they'll print properly. You will understand better. So if you see, string 1 has come up. Okay, the complete rest of the string which is after my second string has gone to my second string value. So it has got split here. So the first value has gone to my first variable. Then the complete string has come to my second variable. So if I give another string variable here, it will take it up. Okay, so that is the use of string split. Sorry. Now if I go to replace, I can replace any of this occurrence with another character. So now what I can do is I'll take this value 3 only. Okay, so split I'll just replace all. So if you can see this syntax, replace all occurrences of, this is the syntax. So if you want to see what else options are available, I'll just go to F1. I think replace F1. It has popped up. See, replace in table is there and string operation is there. Currently we are just seeing the string operations. Let's see what are all there. See, replace first occurrence, all occurrence it is there. So first occurrence you can replace and all occurrences also you can replace, and you have replace section. Okay, so now we'll see usage of this both. Now I'll give only replace. I'll do both operations. Okay, replace first. I'll do first occurrence. Okay, first occurrence of, maybe I'll take str. Okay, first occurrence of str with or by, I guess. In, sorry, in what string will have to put, where, in which string, with. Okay, with what you want to replace. Okay, str I will just want to replace with 1 2 3. Okay, now what the expected behavior is, the first occurrence of str will be replaced by 1 2 3. Okay, so let's see if that works. See, only the first occurrence has been replaced, so our syntax is right. So if I want to replace all, I'll just, instead of first, I'll just remove and put all. Simple. All occurrences of str. Okay, execute. So if you see all occurrences got replaced. So this is how my replace statement works. Okay, replace all. And operators, what all we have is, see, it's see, we are all, these are all characters. Okay, so what will happen is, we have maybe contains, cn, co, these are all the operators. Okay, one by one we'll explain. Contains, ca is contains any. Okay, so contains any means, suppose if in my string, if I want to check if it contains this str, you can just put it in my if condition. So all these conditions you can put it in if condition. Okay, if my LV string. So sometimes what will happen is like uh, so if you want to check the internal table for errors or any specific string, these are all completely used case scenarios. Okay, the major used case what we generally come across is, suppose in my internal table, if you want to check for one single message like error message, you can just put my read table. Now message type is E. But if you want to see if you have some three messages E, A, X, so what we can do is, if it will, we can just simply put my internal table contains any CA. So similarly, I'll put here contains any, if I say STR, then success. So we can handle it using my condition. Now if I give else, so it will go to my else part. So whatever logic you want to put here, you can put it. Okay. So this is how the basic things in string operations work. Replace, occurrence, shift. Okay, see, generally we have another syntax called shift. Shift, okay. But what we generally do is, shift we don't use, we'll use conversion exists. The shift and all we'll use when to remove the leading zeros, but this is not recommended actually. Like a shift left or shift right, deleting leading zeros, these are some statements. So syntax, if you are properly working on the strings, you can use. But if you are you working on any like data types like material numbers, all those, you are not supposed to use it. How many directions? Deleting, then leading zeros, leading zeros. So generally they use this, okay. And I think this is the one. Okay, these are the most commonly used. Okay, now let me go back to my OABAP. So we have created a class. Okay, so ZCL demo OABAP. So now we'll see how we can use the methods in this. Okay, one by one we'll see. I think we have so many. But anyways, you can use it, no issues. Properties, it is a public. Okay. So in my construct, let's start with constructors, because those are the starting points of my class. Okay, so I'll just come here. This is my instance constructor. Okay, so what I can do is, this is just for commenting, I'll do it so that we'll understand which one has come up. Okay, just this is just a comment. This is a instance constructor. Okay, I'll just put a breakpoint. Similarly, I'll go to my static constructor, put a text. This is a static constructor. Just to understand the flow. Okay, nothing else we are doing here. Now I'll just check it. Okay, explicit length or necessary. I'm just activating it, nothing else. Let me activate the whole class so that we can start using it. Let me activate the class. Okay, must be calling. We'll have to put the super constructor. Okay, so we have to put the super constructor here because it is a child class. So this is a mandatory statement which system is expecting. Okay, so I'll just call it and leave it. Okay. Similarly, super class constructor also I'll have to call. This is my instance constructor. This is my static constructor. Super class constructor. These are some system expectations, not syntaxes actually. So I'm just calling them, nothing else. I'll save it. The syntax issue. Okay, the class is activated. Okay, now we will see both ways of calling it. See now how you want to call the class depends on what are the classes, I mean methods and attributes filled in my class. So now if I just go through, I have instance classes as well as static classes. Sorry, methods, sorry, not classes. So these are both are constructors. Okay, leave it. So apart from that, what I have is one create material is a static method, and one create material description is instance method. Okay, if you want to call, okay, now I'll just rename it. Okay, so I'll just, instead of create material, I'll say add two numbers. This is just an example. Add two numbers static. Okay, I'll just rename it. Add two numbers static. Okay, now I'll give two attributes. Okay, LV number 1, LV number 2. Okay, these what I'll do is I'll give it a static first. Okay, first example, we'll see for static. How will this will be public? Okay, because you want to access it from other class. Okay, so int 4. So this I have given. So similarly, I'll take a static public int 4. So now these two numbers you can access from other classes because it is my public. Okay, now we will see how we can access the static attributes. Okay, so now other method also, let me put it as static method, add two member static. Okay, so I'll just activate it. Okay, now two ways you can pass uh, the variables or the values to my method. One, you can put it as, see, whatever attributes which are available in my class level is called global parameters. Okay, and whatever are available in my method level, if you click on parameter, it is a local parameter for that particular method. Okay, so what I'll do is, we'll take for first example, we'll fill these values. Okay, then use that. The second one, we can give it only across my class parameters and we'll try to get the result. Okay, I have activated it. Now to populate the values, the syntax is the class name. Okay, the class name, this symbol. Okay, the symbol is for, say, if you give equal to and my arrow, I mean that braces, it is for static parameter. Okay, if you give just simple dash and give, it is for instance parameter. So this is a basic nomenclature. Okay, if I'll go, I cannot see this one parameters, this shortcuts will not work. Okay, so we'll have to go back, go to my attributes and copy. Okay, so I'll just copy. So now it's accepting. I'll give maybe 5 as my first value. Similarly, number 2, I'll give it as maybe 8. Okay, now means for this global values we have given 5 and 8. Okay, now I'll write my logic in my method. Okay, a method static. Okay, so I want a result. So what I'll do is I'll just take another number, LV result. Again, I'll take it as static public int4. Okay. Now I am manipulating only using my global parameters. Okay. So I'll just activate it. So in my methods, what I'll do is I'll go inside, just double click, or what you can do is double click is the most used, or you can go to this one code. It will lead to the same. Okay. Now here how can I access my global parameters is same. Or if you have shortcut, let me see if that gives me. I think that doesn't give. No, this is the same. Now how you access the global parameters is the same. Okay, 1, 2, both the parameters I have. I'm just copy pasting. Okay, now what is the expectation is we want to add these two numbers, right? So I'll give LV result equal to my LV number 1 plus LV number 2. So everything is in global, nothing I'm importing, nothing I'm exporting. The values will be stored. Okay. So now I'll just see pretty printer, check, activate. So all my parameters are accepted. Okay. Now I'll just go back. I'll note down this method, class and method. Okay. So this class and method. So previously we saw it how to call it. So I'll go to my pattern, ABAP object pattern. This is how you can call a program from a method from other programs. This is using my pattern. Otherwise, directly if you know, you can just call it very easily. So it's not an instance, it is a class interface. We have not created an instance. Okay. So if you have it, so I'll just copy paste. Okay. If I give the class name, or you can even search with F4. F4 is always available in my programs or class methods you want to create. Or you want to create, or you want to raise a event, raise action. See, all these are available in my OOPS. You want to create an object, this will come for my instance classes. Okay. So here they have given a static fun. So here you can call both static and instance. So which is our use case now. We have mix of both static and instance. Otherwise, you can just create an instance. Okay. So you can raise events we spoke about, exceptions also. So whatever you can do in my other program, same thing you can do it here also. Now what I'll do is, okay, sorry, I'll show it in GCL star over ABAP. Okay. If I give F4, see it will come up. So if you don't know the class name also, you can just search it. Then if you click F4 on my method, it will be list of all methods the class has. Okay. Currently we have, these will be by default sorted in alphabetical order. If you want to search, you can use this. Suppose you know maybe one or two letters of that. So I know numbers. I'll go here. I'll give numbers. It will give the search result. See, add two numbers. Or you want to filter, you can also filter. Now I have a method maybe number. We'll see what it comes equal to number, not equal to, maybe I'll give star. Okay. It has come because only one is there with my number, so it has come up. So instead of that, I'll just give F4 to display all. Now we have less number of methods, so it's okay. We have only 18 methods in that. So if you have more number of methods, you can use that. Okay. So I'll just add, I'll call. Okay. Now we haven't given any. See, there are no import parameters, export parameters, nothing is there here. So that is the reason nothing has come up, import, export. It is just calling this method. That's all. Addition is happening inside that. So now I'll write my value, right? My LV result. LV result. Okay. Okay. Now what happens is like my LV number 1 has 5 and then 8. So we will see the which constructor will get called, because by default one constructor will get called. Okay. So I'll put the break. I have put breakpoints in my both my constructors. So now we'll try to understand the flow. Then we will understand the logic. Okay. Nothing, I have just activated it. I'll just run it. There is some deeper breakpoint getting triggered. So where is that? Okay, this is my static constructor. Okay, so if you observe, my instant constructor did not get triggered because we haven't created any instance of it. Only my static constructor has come up. So I can see my values here. So if I just go number one, okay, instant it hasn't come up yet. Nothing, it has a value 4. Okay, let me execute and see my constructor. I'll go out. Okay, because I think for constructor I haven't given any import parameters. No. Now my program comes. Okay, now I'll just call my method. My result I am just seeing it. Now it is 0. The addition we are doing, right? So 13 has come up. So it's like first when my execution happens, first the constructors will get called, then my program my program logic gets called. So that's the reason you saw the constructors first. Okay, now we have got the result. So this is using only the parameters, global parameters. We haven't used any import export parameters. Now let me try giving import export parameters to this class. I'll just clear everything. So how we did it for function module, same way it is. So for my methods, okay, I'll go view parameter. See, we have to find follow the naming convention. IV number 1, IV number 2. Then I'm taking the result out. Okay, IV result. So again we are practicing only static. So type here would be, this is for importing two parameters. I'm importing two parameters to my program. Now let me see with exporting first, then with returning and changing we'll see. Okay, now I'm passing all this by my value only. Okay, okay, type I haven't given, sorry, int4, int4, int4. Okay, now my method, I'll just go to my code. I'll just remove this. So here you will have all my importing, but there is something called signature here. Okay, signature, if you click upon, it will show what are my import parameters. So this is importing. These are the symbols. Okay, you will just understand by using it. Only in one side it is a importing, left side. Outside if it is a, this is exporting. Returning and changing will just show the symbols. Okay, returning, changing will be this arrow, that symbol will be on both the sides, and for returning it will just have one arrow only. I'll just show. I'll just add parameters. Maybe it will be easy to understand. So you can differentiate. So now what is CV number, just for showing how it looks like. I'm just adding it. So changing. This is also part 1 int 4. Then returning RT RV I'll put returning variable. Okay, number. This is returning. So you can see, understand by all this means either you can go to my import export parameters, or you can come to my, see, both the places. If you have arrows, both it's changing. Then if you have just an arrow, it is returning. Returning means it will just return some number. It's not doing any manipulation. So these are the 4 types of parameters you can see. You can see it from my signature. So on my program level, see, these are all small examples. So we'll have less number of parameters. Once you go to the real time scenarios, you'll have many. So the signature will help you. If you want to have the signature, you can have it. Otherwise, you can just close it. Okay. Now the same thing is, I will have to add my two numbers. Okay. So my it is IV. See this control space will work here. So the parameters and all, if you want to see, you can come up. My IV result equal to IV number 1 plus IV number 2. Okay, I'm just giving it. changing we'll see. Okay, what we can changing, it's like we can just change the result and send it back. So that is a used case. So what I'll do is CV number equal to, I'll give 22, because I'll make sure this is getting changed after my execution. I'll pass some other value and we'll see. Okay, so I'll just check activate. Okay, now I'll call the same method from my program. Pattern, object, navigate. This is already there. I'll just call it. You see now, see these I haven't given as optional parameters. Okay, so that is the reason these are come as mandatory. So this one I kept it, I think result, did I keep it optional? No, it's a result, nah? Exporting parameter. So we can just, that is that has become an optional. Okay, so it's fine. Now the same names you should declare. See, it has come with my declaration. So just uncomment it so that it will be easy for you, because the declaration should be same actually. This should, sometimes this feature will be very useful. You have so many number of variables to declare. You need to keep on seeing whether what type of variable it is. Then you have to just copy paste all those. So instead, if this comes, it is very easy for you. So I'll have to populate IV number 1, 2, and take out the result also. Okay, and changing. Okay, I'll populate values for all this. Okay, so as generally what we do is we'll clear all the variables after declaration just to make sure no dump values are coming. So I'll just copy paste. See, the shortcut for this is alt and just select. But it will overwrite. So how many our lines are copied, you should make sure those many empty lines are there, otherwise it will overwrite like this. Okay, it will get scrambled. So just make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines I copied. So 5 empty lines should be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it will come properly. Clear? See. So this is one shortcut for copy pasting. So I'll just give commas at every end. This syntax is ready now. Okay. Now I'll give my values to number 1 equal to 5. And I will see without giving also integers. So next value I'll give it as 10. So result expected is 15. Now my changing value I'll give it as 10. So okay, inside the code we have given it as 22. So I should get all these values. Okay, I'll put a breakpoint here. Okay, now I'll just
IV number 2, I guess. The 10 equals to 10.
I'll just make it. I'll change it. No problem.
Yeah.
The variable copy this one. Na? Yeah. So now let me see what is my result. I'll put a breakpoint here as well. Okay, then we'll see before and after calling. I'll just refresh, reload, execute. So now I'll go to my standard window. Number 1, see number 2. The result will be CV number, it will have the value. Okay, RV number, nothing you have given. So if you just see, I'll just go inside constructor, it will start for first time. Okay, then it will go back to my program logic. Now it has come up. It will go to my, so result will be my IV number 1 plus number 2 15 and CV number is 22. It will get changed. Simple. So result. So you can write now whatever you want to manipulate these values, you can manipulate. Okay, so if you observe here again, only my static constructor has been triggered. So why static constructor will use is, see, we can either default some values in the beginning, or you want to fill some global parameters, or you can like have some import parameters to my constructor and then push some values to my global parameters. Now we will try manipulating through my constructor. Okay, and what I'll do is, let's try to. So we have that global variable.
Raj,
Yes.
Raj, actually, how come it is that 22 it came? Like for
No,
how
in my method
the.
I have given my, I have overwritten my value,
Uh,
na? CV number 22.
Acha, okay, okay,
So
okay.
this is a change. See, this is example for changing
Changing, acha,
parameter.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay, changing. Okay.
yeah. So I have given 10 and it has come as change. So it's for different purposes. So we have given all this importing, changing, and exporting. All the four we have just tried using it. Now what
Yeah,
I'll do
okay.
is I'll manipulate my values instead of giving it here. I'll directly give it in my constructor. So we'll see how it behaves. Okay. So importing parameters you cannot do because those are on my method level, not my class level. So what I will do now is I will go to my class constructor. I'll try to fill these values from my global variables. Okay, attributes, these two now, I'll just take it. So my here I'll just fill it. Okay, LV number 1 equal to 10, LV number 2 equal to 20. Okay, I'll just use this pretty printer activate. So I'll go back to my method, add two numbers. So what I will do is let me see now my result is like I'll just keep it as it is. Okay, then I'll try putting it to returning parameter. We'll see whether it accepts or not. Okay, returning parameter, I'll use this global variables. Okay, zcl demo ABAP number 1 plus number 2. So now we'll see, I'll not give any import values. Okay, in my program I'll just leave that number 1 and 2 blank. I'll just comment it out. So my IV number and IV number 2 will be blank. So my expectation is my LV result is blank and CV number should be giving some result because we have put that values here in my global parameters number 1 and 2. So the CV return should be 30. That is the expected result. Let me see. I'll just execute. I won't give any breakpoint because in my constructor I already given the breakpoint. So let me just execute it. Okay, so I'll go back to my SC38, reload it, I'll execute it. So my constructor, start of selection first, then my constructor. See, if you see, I haven't given any start of selection, but still it comes. So that is a event driven way. Okay, so now at my class, let me see. I'll go to, so this is my constructor. So my variables here, I'll just fill those 10 and 20. Then so now my global variables are filled. The number 1 and number 2 are blank because I haven't filled any values. Okay, I'll just go in. My result will be blank. Then my RV number will be 30. So we have just returning it. Okay, RV number, where is it? I didn't select, is it? Okay, RV number is 30. My CV number. So it comes out. See, my result is blank again. So that is how my constructor works. So CV RV. So this is all my static scenario. Okay, fine. So now you understood how this constructor works. By default, it will trigger only once. Okay, now same thing, same class. I'll try to call it as an instance one. Okay, so two steps we have to follow to create instances. I'll just comment all this. Okay, this also I'll comment. I'll start my logic from here. Okay, so this is for instance. Let me see what is my instance method. Add two numbers static. What I'll do is I'll create another method, copy, then I'll create. So you can just using this copy paste you can create methods. Okay, it will by default come copy of, so I'll remove it. I'll put instance. Okay, now here it will change it to instance method. Okay, status instance. Okay, I'll just rename it. Okay, now we'll have to see this by default this parameters will be instance. Okay, so there is no, will not get that here. By input typing will be same, but my level will be instance. Okay, now let me go back to my attributes. I'll change this number 1, 2 and result to instance. Okay, see, I'm not changing my visibility, only the level I'm changing. Okay, now in instance. Okay, I'll just activate class. Any errors? Okay, see, you can use only. See, so I was telling like previously, the attributes will for static is with equal to, for instant it is only dash. This is the symbol. This is the difference between the access. Hyphen. Okay, equal to still the, yeah. So I'll try to activate static. Some more errors. Okay. CCL. Okay. Instance. So we'll have to. It will not be acceptable. Let me activate. So instance, there's a procedure is different. So let me see one by one. This one is also, I'll comment out. Okay, on the class level I'll activate. Still saved. Okay, now it is activated. So let me go back to my program and I'll see how I can. I'll just clear this. Cannot require any. Okay. So now what is the procedure to use it? Okay. Now what I can do is, okay. First we'll try to access the class. Okay. So now the first statement what we'll have to give is a local object, any name. Okay. So I'll take ABAP demo. I'll keep it as simple. ABAP type. Okay, now he previously the data types we used to give and class types. Now it is reference because we are trying to create a reference which is similar to my class. So type ref to my class name. So this is my reference. Okay. Then see, these are default steps. There is no like this. This is standard way we use it. Okay. We'll just declare an object and create object. Okay. Create, not data, it's object. Create object. We'll see. Now see if there are any additions in this create object. So create object, see, so what is object name? Okay, area handle, and what are the parameter list. Okay, if you want to give any parameters, directly you can give it here. So type, what is the class name, same. If you want to add any type references or like import parameters, export parameters, we can use it. Same, we can use it return value. So if you see the create object, these are the all options available. Catchable exceptions. Okay, these are standard abstractions. Like if you have see, to create objects, it should be public. So we are trying to create an object in some other class, some other program. So it will raise exception if it is an abstract or class not found or not convertible is like the data types. I mean the types doesn't match. Like here some reference we are given and some other type we are trying to create when it is a private class or a protected class. So it is understanding that it should be public. Otherwise it will just throw an exception. That's it. So now we will have this access. Now we'll try to call this method. Either we can just give it call method, then class name, single, I mean that single arrow. Then you'll, I think here you cannot give that. Let me call that instance method. What is it? Add two numbers. Is it accepting? No. So instead what I'll do is I'll try to call it from a pattern. Object patterns. See, if you don't call this, the problem is you will have to just keep on adding that import, export, all those parameters you will have to call. So here the same class and method is there. I'll remove it and give as instance. So now it's an instance method. So you can try to give the instance here over ABAP. See, it has given the class. So if you see the operator here, it is single hyphen with an arrow. So this is how we will call it. We will see if there are any other ways to call it. I'll just clear. This create object also I don't want to write. We want to use the code wizard. So we'll see how we can use it. Okay. So I'll come to my pattern, object patterns. Okay. Call methods. Before that we have to create an object. So you can maybe give these names, class and this one. What instance name and what is the class. We'll see what all code it creates. See, it will already my data is there. So that is the reason it just commented it out. So this is the syntax data, whatever instance you want to create, type ref to my class. Okay, this data was already there. So same statement it commented out. I'll remove everything. And if you want to say, okay, I don't want to write anything, everything the system has to write, go back, ABAP patterns, first create instance. Okay, uncommented. I think it is not in the declaration. Now then call my method ABAP patterns, then call method, same the instance name whatever you give here, give it, what is the class and what is the method. It will create the code for you. Okay, so I'll just beautify this, nothing else. Copy paste. So if you give this colon, others you can just remove it. So this is just beautification only. So what we can do is if you just remove this data statement is not required. One data statement is enough for my whole variables. That looks actually good. So it's just for beautification purpose. It's not like a mandatory one. So I'll just print it. Okay. So all my numbers are here. Okay. Now I have put my breakpoint even in my instance constructor. This one, the first one. So I'll see what. Yeah, I have breakpoint here. Okay. I'll just activate it. I'll just breakpoint. I'll put after this also. Breakpoint. Save. Check. Activate. Okay. So So I have not written any code inside here. Okay, it is like only the stat import parameters. So what I'll do is I'll again give values. What all I need is these two only, number 1 and number 2. Number 1 I'll give 10, then number 2 I'll give 15. Activate. Now I'll just reload my transaction, execute. So first my class constructor. Okay, so this is a sequence of calling my instance and static constructor. Okay, static constructor always gets called first because it is also having static parameters. Then comes my instance constructor. See, constructor. Okay, so in instance constructor, and if it is subclass, it is mandatory that you will have to call my parent constructor also. So what will happen is, whatever is there in my parent constructor, that code also will get executed. After that, whatever you write here in my constructor method, that will get executed. So the things to be noted here is, see, this will be one of a discussion point in my interviews. So they'll ask, okay, I have both my constructor, how it will get called? So the answer is, when you have a class constructor, irrespective of it is a called through a create instance or a normal one, the class constructor means static constructor gets called first, then only my instance constructor get called. So this is the sequence of calling. You can practice this so that you will understand the sequence better. So if I create multiple instances, what will happen? It will keep on calling my instance constructor. We'll see that example next. Okay. Now it will just add two numbers. So CV, nothing is 22 is there. I think, okay, I have taken my importing parameter. Let me open up my importing parameter. So I can create multiple instances also. So instead of ABAP, I can create, I'll have to declare and create. So I'll hello ABAP 1 I'll create, type ref to same. Okay, I'll just create object. Then after breakpoint, I'll create object with ABAP 1. Okay. So the logic will be the same, but instances will be different. See here, what will happen is, like, we are not handling any singleton scenarios or like individual scenarios. Okay, suppose if we come to a practical scenario, like this is my car or my car. So I have two instances of my car. It may be Mahindra car, it may be Maruti car, but generically it is a car. So that is the used case of my different instances. So same purpose of my class, you want to use it for two different objects. So that is the purpose. Let me activate it. Okay, I have removed my, I have removed. So I'll see what is my triggering points and what is the sequence of triggering. Let me put in my charger. Okay, I'll just execute it. First my static constructor should come. Yeah, static constructor. Then comes my, let me go to my standard. Okay, then instance. Okay, then it will go back to my program break. Then my program is executed, breakpoint. Then we'll see if my constructor is called again. See, only my instance constructor has been called because we have created another instance. See, here we have created an instance. So this is create object means creating an instance. So if you observe, the static constructor has been called only once, but my instance constructor has been called twice because I have created two objects. Now it will go back to my code. It will come back to my code. So this is the usage of my constructors. So based on your existing requirement, you will have to put the constructor logic in the static or my instance constructor. Suppose if there is a requirement like irrespective of my what kind of methods or like objects you are creating, you want to populate some values, maybe the generic car, if you take the car example, if you want to populate any specific details like, okay, what is the color of my Maruti car, then what is the color of my Mahindra car. So this will be my object specific parameters. So we'll have to populate, you have to put that parameters into my, if you want to default it, you have to put it into my instance constructor. So this is for defaulting the values. Majorly constructors are used for defaulting the values only. I have not seen any other used case. Or if it will check for a maybe instance, if already instance is existing, it will try to create another instance. So there is something called singleton class. Okay, that is not a setting a kind of thing, it is a procedure actually. So singleton is nothing but at any given point of time that class should have only one instance. So that is how it should look. Okay, let me show you the difference in debug mode actually. If I just try to, this is my class constructor, I'll go to my instance constructor, breakpoint. Okay, so if you double click on my this instance, we'll see how it looks. Okay, so it will say this is my local object, whatever variable you declared, and this is how it look. It will give some reference number. This is my object reference, whatever it is there, 7. If you double click, you can navigate. Okay, then here it will show what are the parameters available. See, these are all the what to say this global parameters, public parameters. This one, the first set here. Okay, then the class level. So this one, it is from the inheritance. Okay, we inherited and we put this in what to say interface, right? ZAPI INS plan. So that will come up first. Then all my other parameters will come up. So you can just go through all the variables what are all available in my system. Sorry, class. So if you see the GCL demo, this is LT. I have put it as private so that it comes as red. Then others are public. Okay. So here you cannot differentiate whether it is a static or a public attribute. If you just fill the values, you can just see here. Okay, and there is some navigation here, special navigation on this. These are navigations. Okay, so this is first one is called display attribute, which currently we are in. Okay, the second one is display events and handlers. Okay, so if there are any events in your particular class, that will display here. See, so we have end and start. So if we have any handler class and we have instantiated those will come up here. Then the values list, references. See what all references you are created. Okay, in this particular program. Okay, so this is the reference we have created. Now, then the superclass, inheritance relations. So what is the inheritance relations you have? So in this particular, this is the object which we created. Then this is the object or the class which we have inherited from some other class. So it will show what are the parameters which are inherited. I have put these two interfaces if you remember. So this is my runtime analysis of my class, nothing but. Okay, so these are the 4 options you will have. Apart from this, nothing specific to my instance. Okay, I think break, this is common. Breakpoints, difference, nothing. Script, nothing. So the script means it will come to my code only, nothing else. Debugger script, that's it. Okay, I think we haven't missed anything. I guess I'll just see. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is how you'll create and call my static class and an instance class. So it might class may be either static or instance or mix of these both. That is purely based on the design. There is no any predefined way. It is purely based on my design only. So tomorrow we'll discuss with singleton class, and there is a small procedure you will have to follow to put in my singleton class. The major purpose of my singleton class is logging. Suppose you have a big process. See, these oops will come only into my picture in different frameworks. Okay, so there are so many frameworks in SAP like BOPF, then standard pricing, custom pricing, or commodity pricing, everything. So if there are any logs, then they'll create one instance. Throughout the process, they'll collect all the messages, put in some log. Okay, I am not sure whether we discussed that. Let me see if we have discussed one transaction called SLG1. No. Okay. So there is one transaction called system log. Okay. The transaction is /SLG1. Okay. So this is completely on my application level, application server level. Okay. So the transaction I will just write down. It is SLG1 application log. Okay, whatever the system runs here, it will come up here. So this can be filtered based on my time, my transaction code, program, and my user. So if you know the application object, directly you can give it. Okay, so we'll see if I have any log messages. Okay, nothing is there. So let me see if any other log is there. So whatever system we just run, it will capture all my log messages here, my success, failure, everything will be captured. So this is how my log looks like. Okay. So now if you just expand it, so this, if I go to error or double click, it will show what are the selected errors. This comes what here it is the time, date, time, and user. So if you come to the next part of it, it will say which, see here if the transaction is filled, you will understand which transaction has created this error or the program which has created. Okay, so this log has two things. One is called my object, sub object, and external ID. External ID is like some identification. Object and sub object is like if you want to group these messages, okay, you can give this objects. Object text, I think sub object text. Okay, it is coming text here. So if you say this is business workflow, technically it would be, I'll just show the technical information. So the basic understanding is, okay, there is some error in my business workflow. If you come here, so object is WF, sub object is this one WAERE. So if you want to see specifically like, okay, anything related to my workflows, you know the object here. Otherwise you can just give a F4 selection there. I'll go to F4 objects. See, these many objects are there. Okay, if you know maybe one or two letters of it, maybe I know the WF, I'll just give. So I have these four objects: business workflow, all this. If you want to see the log specific to my business workflow, I'll just give it. So all the log related to my business workflow will come. So object text is business workflow. If you want to further filter, you can see. So sometimes what they'll say, that tell us, okay, we are getting some log errors in my application log. You have to check it. So if I can go to error, double click, it will show what is the error. If you go to my long text, it will give a detailed explanation like what is the error. So here it is TRFC, but sometimes if you will get anything related to my sales order, purchase order, you can just come here and you can see it. That is on my log, application log. Okay, so this is it for today. Okay, then we can connect tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll just see what we can do with my singleton classes and what are the types of classes and their usages. So after that we'll jump into my baddies which we left it previously. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.